Hey guys, Kevin, Hingle Makes It Happen. Moving on to a new project today. As y'all know, I do lots of different projects, lots of different things all the time, and I'm always getting my hands dirty into something. So I've had some other videos about a new pontoon boat that we've added to the fleet. And you know, they say that a man can only be measured by how many boats he has that he's working on, and I got 4. So we're trying to get the pontoon boat ready to go fishing. I bought the pontoon boat a little bit late last year, somewhere out of Atlanta. Nice price, fishing pontoon boat, really happy with it. I think we're gonna have a great time on it. It's got a couple of live wells, fishing pole holders, all that kind of good stuff. So we took it out last weekend for the first time, actually fishing. And of course, once you do that, then you start to realize, all right, I gotta change this, I gotta change this, I gotta change this, I gotta change this. Always gonna happen. So one of the big things that I knew I wanted to do originally anyway, but now that I've actually taken the boat out and experienced it on the water, I gotta get my trolling motor put on it. I have a Minn Kota spot lock 36 volt trolling motor that I had on my other boat that isn't running right now. So I took it off and I'm putting it on the pontoon boat. Even my wife and the boat mechanic both said, yeah, you need to sell some boats. So I'm getting ready to liquidate a couple of boats. But the pontoon boat's going to be in the fleet for a while, I think. It's great for us because when we have like 4th of July's coming up, we could put 10, 11 people on the pontoon boat. And everybody can have a good time, lots of space. The dogs can run around without falling in the water, little kids, all that kind of good stuff. So the pontoon boat's going to be a lot of fun. But I need to tweak it for us so we could use it, and I'm very comfortable using it. One of which is I'm moving the trolling motor from the other boat onto it. While doing so, I am replacing all the electronics. Everybody who has boats knows batteries don't last very long, especially trolling motors. Even if you have a good battery charger, they go bad all the time. So I was able to get some new batteries today from a friend of our business, Battery Warehouse in Kenner, Louisiana. Gave me a really nice price on these 12 volt deep cycle trolling motors. So I replaced all 3 of them and putting in a new battery charger as well. This is a Pro Sport 3-cell Pro Mariner, and this will do all 3 batteries. The battery chargers I had before were 8 years old, 9 years old, or whatever, and they were only for 2 bank, but I had two banks. Now we're doing 1 3 bank. And just so you understand what bank is, bank. 3 banks, or how much money it costs to put them is like a bank. So replacing all 3 batteries, putting in a new battery charger. What's cool about this pontoon is that one of the live wells was not connected in the front of the boat. And so I took the live well bucket, I guess you call it, out of it. And this is gonna go in there. I think it's gonna be a great fit. It's gonna fit nice and neat in there. And I'm gonna take a piece of wood, some treated wood, and screw it to the trays where I can mount the charger just like that. And along with that, the shell for the old live well, I'll put the plugs through there. So this is gonna be kind of a lengthy process, but we're gonna start with this process first. So I'm gonna wire up these things. Wiring a 24 volt, 36 volts battery system is a dauntless task, in my opinion. It's a little odd because you're wiring from negative to positive. And that always freaks me out, and I'm sure it freaks many people out because they're like, that can't be right. That's how you, when you're doing a 36 volt, 24 volt, whatever, trolling motor, you wire them up like that. There's different ways. You could rotate this one so your cords are shorter, blah, blah, blah. I like things a little nice and neat. I'm a little OCD about stuff like that, so I like my batteries in order. And I'm gonna make my cables. A lot of people buy pre-made cables. You have this big 2-foot cable going all over the place. I'm gonna make some nice cables that's gonna be just a little bit more than what it needs to be, because I'm gonna go from this negative to this positive, this negative to this positive, and then the remaining 2 both will go to the trolling motor plug, because I am doing a plug, so I can take that motor off whenever I want to. The Minn Kota has a quick attach base where you just slide a metal bracket out, take that whole trolling motor off, and I can put it away, which is great because when I'm using the boat for pleasure, I don't need to have that on there. But if we were fishing, yeah, it would be ideal. The place we were fishing last week had a bunch of pilings and a bunch of little islands that at one point in time were all connected, but of course they're all washed away just like everything else in South Louisiana. So when we went back the next day, my wife and I, in the smaller boat, we were able to troll all around. Go all around, and based on which way the wind's going, and fish this spot, and this spot, and this spot, all the points coming off of there. And we found a nice little cay where the trout were kind of stacked up in there. So that's what's great about the trolling motor. You know, going somewhere and anchoring, that's all fine and dandy when you got to do it. But if you can troll, it's great. And this one, I think it's 86 pounds of thrust. It's a long shaft. I don't remember, I bought it several years ago. But it's a very good trolling motor. $2,900, somewhere in that neighborhood. So this is going to be a good little process of getting this together. All right, we're getting started. All I've done so far is just one of the cables. And like I was saying earlier, your cable is actually going from your negative to your positive. Negative to your positive. Which I know most of us think that's, oh my God, so wrong. But that's not, that's the way you wire these things. I'm sure that if you're wiring up one of these guys, you really don't need to know how to cut and strip a wire, but just in case, basically all I'm doing is I put my terminal on one end and I want it to be nice and neat. So I'll put that right there, figure, all right, that's good. Gives me about 1 inch of play. So wiggle around, move around, whatever. You don't want it too tight as it's shaking in the boat, it could come apart. So I got it where I didn't want it to be, and I got my wire cut, I got my wire stripped. As you can see, these are the fittings that we're using, and they're stamped. You can't really see it well, but it shows you right there what size wire this is for. This is for a, gotta look this up, forgot. This is for a 2-gauge wire, and it is a 3/8 hole. Smaller hole would have been nicer, but this is all they had. When you go into Napa or Auto Parts store, you're not going to find exactly what you want. This is close enough. That nut's going to hold it on there perfectly fine without a problem. This is all copper. This is all copper. So, good matchup. Most important thing, whenever you're doing any wiring, for boats, it's virtually mandatory. But when we do houses, I sell generators. I'm in New Orleans. I sell generators, and we do all kinds of electrical, but dielectric grease is mandatory when you're doing anything marine-wise. Dielectric grease is kind of like a Vaseline or some kind of a gel, and you just want to coat it really, really good. Because what the dielectric grease does is it helps to keep down the corrosion. Copper, aluminum, stuff like that corrodes regardless. Just in the humidity here in the south, it's going to corrode. So when you're dealing with a house, and I open 2 or 3 electrical panels a day, breaker panels, meter cans, all that kind of stuff, and some are more corroded than others, but they get corroded. So the idea of the dielectric grease is it really slims down that chance of that happening, so that you get a nice, good, solid bond, and it's not going to corrode on the inside of the wire. You can kind of see that grease sticking out just a little bit. So you want to get a good, solid coating of dielectric grease on there. But pretty simple. Strip the wire, put my fitting on there. I'm going to tap that sucker on there pretty good. The good guys have all kinds of nice crimpers and stuff to squeeze it on there, get it pinched right, all that kind of stuff. I'm not an electrician. Yes, I sell generators. I know I just mentioned that, but I'm not an electrician. I don't have all the really expensive tools. I have some nice tools, but not everything. So when you have something like that, works good, a hammer. This is a nice little metal block for doing car work. Put that sucker on there. It ain't going nowhere. It's nice and solid. It's good as a rock. I'm gonna throw a little bit more grease on top of there so that's nice and coated. Now I am gonna take all of this apart. I'm actually, right now I'm just in my backyard at my house in New Orleans. The fishing camp is down at Cocodrie. So I'm doing this here just because unfortunately I don't have enough time to enjoy my fishing camp, much less spend, the time I need to work on this stuff while I'm there. So I'd rather do everything I can while I'm home, and once I get there, then I can just install it. And that's my plan with this. For the most part, I'm gonna have this all ready to roll, and when I get down to my fishing camp, hopefully this weekend, I'll be able to install, drop it in. Now I have some videos of that too. I haven't seen very many videos of doing this kind of stuff on pontoon boats. I do, of course, just like I'm putting videos on here. I look at lots of videos. I'm always looking at videos. So I want to make sure I do all that because, I don't know everything, but I figure out how to do things. So what you're seeing right here, this is pretty much done as far as wiring the batteries. Got all my 3 batteries next to each other. Got them in the battery trays, going from negative to positive, negative to positive. So those batteries are wired. These guys are good to go. The next step is going to be wiring up the plug for the trolling motor. Got this little plug here. Got this from Bass Pro Shops. I already have this exact same plug on my trolling motor when I took it off the other boat. So all I'm worried about here is the female portion of the plug. So we're going to get that together and that'll be good to go momentarily. All right, we're back. It was leaving a little late last night, so I had to take the night and get some rest. Worked all day today, came home. Didn't have a whole lot to do to finish getting this package together, but figured it'd take 30, 45 minutes to get out here and do it. So what we've got going on here now, we've got the 3 batteries. I've got my wires together. We've got a jumper. Remember the way we do this, negative to positive, negative to positive, and then this negative and this positive go to the trolling motor. I got this little whip made up, got it together, got my eyes on there, some shrinky dink on there, filled it up nice and solid with some dielectric grease to make sure we don't get any corrosion going inside there, because that's the most dangerous thing with these things on a boat, is getting some salt water or water in there and getting corrosion inside your fittings. You can't see it, so it gets up in there. So I got lots of stuff in there, got my whip made up, and this is the female side of the plug for the trolling motor. So the plan is this will go inside the cavity where the live well was. And once I get it in there, I'll take this portion, and then I also have the plug for the charger, and I got a holder just like this for the plug here somewhere, which will go through the casing of the old live well. So I got this together. It's all done. It's pretty good. The charger I mounted right here. This is a piece of 5/4 by 12 treated wood I had hanging around with over from a fence I built. So I got that mounted to this battery tray with some stainless steel 3 bolts. So that's mounted to there, and that's good and solid. It might be a little bouncy, so once I put it in place, I'll put a little something between there, a old cork float, I don't know, a piece of foam, something like that, just to keep it from bouncing around, put a little pressure on there, keep it steady. So that guy's right here. I have the leads, and this is one of the things that gets very confusing about this as well. Of course, for one, it doesn't make common sense to us. We're going from negative to positive, right? What's really confusing with this prevent charger, which I explained, this charger will have leads that go to every single post. So this charger has 3 sets of leads, one to the positive, negative this battery, positive, negative this battery, positive, negative that battery. It seems confusing. I know, it is confusing, but that's the way it works. How does it not go through the cables and do everything else? I got no clue, but that's the way the instructions say to wire it. So for now, I just use the twist ties that came with. I just have them tied to the handle for now. I don't want to do anything permanent here until I get it in the boat. Just in case, I didn't measure it naturally, but just in case this battery doesn't fit like this, I might have to move this battery over here or something funky. So I'm happy with this where it is. Charger's here. All these wires are run. They're cut to size. They're sealed. They're in good shape. So this is cool. That is the plan for now. So this weekend, I'm gonna go down to the camp and I'll bring this with me. Naturally, it's too heavy to pick up by itself. One of these batteries is probably 50 pounds by itself, easy. So I can't pick all this up. So I'll disconnect at least this battery, because this, and in case you didn't realize this, I had a couple of battery trays. These are battery trays off the old boat. This is a 2 battery tray, this is a single battery tray. So they're just gonna sit next to each other in the live well, and I'll just screw them to the floor so they're nice and sturdy and tight. But I don't wanna do anything permanent until I get it in the boat. So I should be able to just detach this one battery, carry that, these 2 and this I'll try to pick up together just for easy sakes. If not, I'll just disconnect them. It can take 5 minutes to disconnect each one of them. So I'm happy with this. I got this nice whip. When I did my connection here yesterday, I got my wires in there real good. Of course, some more dielectric grease. Taped them up separate on top and taped all the whip all the way up to as far as it need to be, just so that it's clean and it's nice. And once I get it installed, wherever I decide to put this little guy, it'll be ready to go. So, and then like I said, once I do that, I get the battery trays screwed in, get my wires up where them. Then I'm gonna go back and put some holders to hold this stuff in place, zip tie this nice and tight so nothing's moving. And of course, dielectric grease goes on every fitting, every post, every screw. Everything's gonna get lots of grease, tighten down nice and tight, and that'll be good to go. So we're done for the night. This is good. I'm gonna pick up some tools and get ready to rock and roll. I'll finish this video over the weekend once I get time, hopefully, to put this in the boat. I'll get pictures of how to take out that live well and how this is gonna fit in, get it in there, get it where it's all hooked up. I don't know if I'm going to necessarily drill and place these guys in there at this time, because I have to make a decision how to do that. But either way, you know, when I'm using it, I could just hang that out of the live well door and we're good to go, instead of making holes and stuff like that. But eventually I know I'm mount it somewhere somehow. We'll figure that out later. Thanks a lot, guys. I will catch back up with y'all when I'm back at the boat. Hey guys, Kevin Hingle Makes It Happen. We're here finishing up the project where we're putting the trolling motor on our new to us pontoon. For once, I'm not doing this by myself. My beautiful wife Amanda is operating the phone and making the recording herself. Say hi, Amanda.
Hi guys.
So we got it finished up. The last point you saw was putting the batteries together at the house. So I got the batteries together, and then, like I said, what would typically happen, I didn't measure it, they didn't fit. So I had to revamp my program a little bit. But just so y'all can see, I've removed this front seat out of the pontoon just so you can see better. So this is one of the live wells. One of the things we liked about this pontoon, it had 3 live wells on it. This one was not in working order. The guy used it for storage, and I'm good with that. I don't need 3 live wells, but I have one over here and one in the back. So this one I decided to transform for the trolling motor. I wanted to add a little weight to the front of the boat anyway, so it worked out really good. So this is how we got it all set up. So these, when you take them in and out, they just have a couple of screws in the back. I left those off just so you can see very easily. So this just slides right out of the way. That's what we got going on in here. So with the 3 batteries, just like I showed at home, got those wired up. You have all that in the video already. I'm not going to go over that again. So I got those in there. You can see I put a little wood platform down here on the bottom because these pontoon rails aren't sealed tight to the ground. Some water might get underneath them. So that gives a little air, so if water gets underneath it, the water can evaporate and not get soaked into the wood. And I have a couple little 1x1 cleats underneath it. So, and that's all treated, of course. So I got that in there. We got our batteries in here, and then I just put this little shelf in here for the battery charger. And the shelf really just sits here. Just sits in. I got a couple little angle brackets in the back. 2 pins go in to hold it in place, and those legs go there. Holds that in place, and it holds all the batteries in place. So that's really good and all set up good. So that's all rocking and rolling. I have the plug for the
trolling motor here. Later on, I will come through the face of this and run that plug or mount that plug into the side of it so that you can plug it in and out as you want to. But otherwise, I think it fits really good. And then you can also open this up. You can see the battery charge. You can see that it's working. I'm gonna put a plug in here as well, but for now, you know, I can leave it open, plug this in. You do want to let some airflow, so chances are whenever I'm charging, I'll block it with some piece of wood or something so it sits open and doesn't get too hot in there. But otherwise, it's good to go. So that's all fine. Troll motor's out here in the front. And one of the things I especially wanted to do with this setup was, this is a troll motor I had on another boat. And they're pretty expensive. They're around $3,000 or so. It's a Minn Kota Terra Nova. It's a long shaft, 36 volts, so it's like one of their best ones. It's not to self-deploy, because I know there are too many issues with self-deploy. There's a manual deploy. But otherwise, I think it works great. What I like about it is, when it's not in use, if we're just cruising around, I can just pull it up, the slip collar, leave it right there. It's not in the water, it's out of the way. The door can still close, nice and neat and clean. When we're not using it, if we like move the boat up for the weekend or what have you, it'll just lay down right there, and the door will still close. So it's out of the way, and it's perfect. And then of course this has a quick release on it as well, which is why I have the plug instead of hardwiring it. You can pull out that little bracket on the bottom, take the whole motor off, and go put it away in the storage shed when we don't need it. So that's the project. I hope you like it. I know these 36-volt systems get very complicated, so this kind of gives you the step-by-step way to hook those up, and the battery charger, because as I've said many times before, it doesn't click with your normal theory that you're hooking positive and negatives on all these batteries, and then the battery charger goes over. But that's the way you do it. So I hope you like the video. I hope it helps you out. I know I searched and searched and searched for trolling motors on pontoons, and I saw hardly any on the YouTube world. So I hope you like it. I hope it helps you. If you like the video, click like, share, subscribe to the channel. If you've seen some other videos, we do all kinds of things. I did videos on this boat lift for this pontoon boat itself. I do for some beer brewing that we do at home, and there's a variety of other things. So again, click it, like it, share it, all that good stuff, and we appreciate it. Y'all have a great day.